Hello, this is Jana Strunk, and the contestant's name is Joshua Strunk. We are aware this video submission is for use by UK Cooperative Extension Service personnel for the sole purpose of review and judging for the 2020 Bluegrass Area 4-H Communications Contest. This is Joshua Strunk from Scott County, and his speech is entitled Understanding the Five Love Languages.
We were at Red Square when it was time to change guards at Lenin's tomb. The whole square was filled with noisy tourists speaking Russian. Now, I don't speak Russian, so it was nothing more than just a buzzing in my ear. Suddenly, to my left, I heard, "Hey Larry, come over here. You can get a great shot." Instinctively, I turned that direction. It was my native tongue, English. It got my attention like nothing else did. Now, I studied French in school, so if the speaker had used French, I would have recognized it. I've lived around Spanish-speaking people, so if the speaker was speaking Spanish, I would have picked up a few words. Yet, in all the clanging around me, my attention was completely fixated on the person speaking my primary language, English. This is how best-selling author Gary Ezzo explains the power of love languages. When someone speaks your primary love language, it gets your attention. You actually feel love. The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman is full of stories of real people he has counseled who did not feel loved by a spouse, parents, or their child. In these sessions, he came to understand that each of the five love languages is ordered in preference for everyone, primary, secondary, etc. You might have someone in your family or work with someone you don't seem to connect with. It is likely that the two of you do not even share the same primary or maybe secondary love language. This person may indeed love or respect you, but it's like they are saying hola while you are saying bonjour. Something is just lost in the translation. The five love languages are affirming words, acts of service, gift receiving, physical touch and closeness, and quality time. To determine someone's primary love language, Chapman says, watch how they express love to others. That is a clue to their own favorite love language. Therefore, the person that is always saying encouraging, positive comments also likely feels most loved when someone gives affirming words back to them. These people are always saying thank you or you are so kind. Spoken appreciation is the best way to show them love. On the other hand, don't tell me that you love me, show me is the attitude of a person who feels loved by someone doing something for them, perhaps sweeping the floor or even loading the dishwasher. To them, mere words don't speak love, action does. For these people, the saying actions speak louder than words applies very well. An example used by Gary Chapman is David and Maxine. After 15 years of marriage, Maxine sought marriage counseling and told Chapman, "I don't understand David. Every day he tells me that he loves me, but he never does anything to help me. He just sits on the couch watching TV while I wash the dishes. It never comes to his mind to help me. I'm sick of hearing I love you. If he loved me, he would do something to help me." He often told Maxine that he loved her, but she did not feel it. He was showing love through words of affirmation and not acts of service. But the latter is actually Maxine's primary love language. Now, everyone surely likes to receive gifts, but some people actually feel most loved with a present than in any other way. To them, a gift says, "I thought of you while we were apart." If you do not have this love language, instead you might think, ugh, now I have to write a thank you note. For people like my sister, whose primary love language is receiving gifts, even a small gift means the world to them. You just know it immediately. They just light up. Spending time in conversation is what others feel most loved during. These people are always the last ones to leave church or the football game because they're expressing love by talking with someone. For these people, undivided attention while expressing or listening to a personally important idea equals love. Sitting on your phone through a conversation or watching TV while they tell you about their day can be tragic to your relationship with them. My wonderful mother's primary love language is quality time. And thankfully for her, it is a close second for me, as it's not high on my dad's list at all. At times, if no good conversation is available, a quality time person will just read a book and have even a one-sided conversation as the author explains what is on his mind. Now, we hope that the reader doesn't crave physical affection, as books are not a good substitute for that. Now, if you've been paying undivided attention, like I can need sometimes, then you'll remember that physical touch and closeness is the final love language. Some feel particularly loved by physical affection. For these, when someone else is in close proximity, in the same room, or maybe even just the car, it makes them feel content. Nothing makes them feel more loved than someone they care about initiating and reaching out and touching them. Understanding the 5 love languages is great for improving relationships, but they also have a negative flip side. Someone who feels loved by affirming words also feels unloved by critical words. Further, what if you let your share of household chores slip undone and you live with an acts of service person? They're going to feel unloved. Are you trying to tell your family that you love them, but to them it sounds like Russian buzzing in their ears? Disrespect can evolve when each is actually trying to say, I love you, but in a completely different way. Even if your mom's love language is different than yours, you can see the value of on purpose speaking her primary love language. Gary Chapman says, when action doesn't come naturally to you, it is a greater showing of love. He makes the point that love is a choice we make each and every day. Now, Mother Teresa answered the question of, how can one person change the world? She said, go home and love your family. Learning how to implement the 5 love languages at home will go a long way toward not only loving your family, but also allowing your family to feel loved. Learning someone's love language can really be intriguing, and it just makes your guys' relationship that much better. Remember, the 5 love languages are affirming words, acts of service, gift receiving, physical touch and closeness, and quality time. Thank you. You gonna pause it?